It's Scag Live from Metalcraft of Mayville in Mayville, Wisconsin, home of Scag Power Equipment, with Dennis Opalich, Matt Mugen, Patrick Roloff, and Jake Seagren. Also with Mike Gamachet from Gamachet Systems, Joe Simons, and Dan Nissen from Versatran. And your Scag Live host, yours truly, Lee Crooks.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Welcome to Scag Live. I'm your host, Lee Crooks, and I'm joined today by Dennis Opalich, Director of Sales from Scag. Dennis, tell us about Scag Live and what we can expect today.
Thanks, Lee. It's good to be here today. A little different circumstance than normal. Normally we're in Louisville, Kentucky. We're spending quality time with our end users, our dealers, our distributors.
Sure.
With the changes, the things that happened this year, we decided to twist it up a little bit and decided to do the Scag Live event. What it allows us to do is not only talk about Scag, but also talk about our sister companies, including our automation division, FJR and Gamachet. Those folks help in the automation of not only the process, but also in the assembly. So it's a great asset to Scag and to Metalcraft and the companies that they support and work with. And also our industrial carrier division, Versatran. Versatran is a industrial truck bed. You'll hear more about that today. But it's really for construction companies. They have to be able to haul like loader backhoes. And they're coming out with some new products. One is going to be a non-CDL version. It'll be ideal for companies like rental houses, our dealers, our landscapers. Instead of having to haul a truck and a trailer around, all in one. You can put all your equipment on one truck. So it'll be a great asset, again, nice. for our customers, our dealers, and our end users. And also during the main event this afternoon, we're going to have a product updates. So we're going to be able to talk about the things we would normally talk about with everybody that comes to GIE.
Sure.
We're also going to do a new product intro, as well as a prototype release today. We're going to be able to show that, and again, that's something that we would do normally at GIE. And then we'll conclude this evening with a question and answer session. So with that, we hope everybody sticks around for the pre-show with our sister companies. And then we'll see everybody back this evening at 5 o'clock for the Scag main event.
Okay, anything else?
That'll be pretty much it.
All right, as Dennis said, we are going to have a Q&A session later on, but we need your questions. So as you can see on the screen, if you would submit your questions to scag.com/scag-live-event, and we'll take those questions and we'll get some answers for you. Coming up next, we have Metalcraft Automation. Please stay with us. Welcome to Metalcraft Automation. I'm joined by Mike Gamachet. Mike, tell us about Metalcraft, Scag, Automation, and Gamachet systems.
Thanks, Lee. In 2018, Metalcraft in Mayville purchased FJR and acquired Gamachet Systems shortly thereafter in the beginning of 2019. And right now, our primary focus internally is to help with efficiencies and automation to produce the Scag product lines. And for our outside customers as well, we design, build, install equipment, robotic systems, anything that goes under, on, and around a robot is something that we do very well. And we do training for those, the equipment that we provide, and we also support that equipment.
All right. How have FJR and Gamachet contributed so far?
Well, one of the things is, safety is always first in any type of manufacturing environment. And we recently developed the FDS system, the Fever Detection System 2020, which is in response to the COVID-19. And we have a video that we'd like to show you and talk about that a little bit.
Let's take a look.
The FDS is actually a very highly accurate measurement system that uses a thermal detection camera. So it's an add-on to any existing building. It's employee entrances, service entrances, where an employee is going to walk in. They're going to be the only one in that particular area at any given time. The green light gives them the opportunity to say, hey, there's nobody ahead of me. They're going to put their feet in a location where they can get scanned by the thermal detection system. And then if they're good and healthy and without a fever, they get to go in the building. If not, they're going to get turned around and sent back home. Okay. Absolutely, right.
Got it. What's up next? Deck cell?
Yeah, we talk about the Scag lawnmowers, and every mower has a deck. So it starts with a piece of steel, stacks of steel that come in as raw materials, and then we turn them into decks. We have a video on a system that we went from raw blanks to bent up and formed decks ready for welding.
Using robotics.
Yeah, it's actually, we got our first robot that touches the materials, an R2000. It picks up a blank. It squares up that blank, as you'll see here in just a second. And then it puts that blank into a 1,000-ton bliss press, and it's pretty amazing. We actually have a servo-adjustable end-of-arm tool on that robot, and so we can do many different sizes with just a touch of a button and a quick changeover. So now we're going to pick up that material, the scrap, and the blank, set that scrap aside. It's kind of a neat, again, that's a very complex end-of-arm tool that our guys came up with. We now just have the blank. It's going to be set down to go into and under a gantry system. It's a 3-axis gantry system that picks up the blank and it creates stacks of different sizes. We turn it into a Kanban or a supermarket of those products or those deck blanks. And then the second robot, which is on the other side of the the gantry system, is an R2000 on a RTU, which is a robot track unit. And that system picks up the blank and presents it to a 90-ton Cincinnati press brake and bends it up into the shape of a mower deck.
Sounds good.
Go ahead, please.
Now you have something called the Robotrex lathe. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the Robotrex lathe is a variation of the Robotrex system. There's kind of a standard Robotrex, and then we turn that into a product that works with lathes. And again, we put this system, it's a cart system where parts are coming in on carts. The robot then takes those parts, puts it into the lathe. In this particular case, we're actually flipping a part, doing 2 different operations, and then putting the parts back onto the cart. We have a 2-cart system that we produced for Metalcraft in Mayville in their West Bend facility. We can put 18 parts per cart, so it's about 2 hours worth of run time that allows that operator to go and do something else with their time, maybe operate 2 or 3 other systems identical to this or similar to this. You see here where the robot is loading and unloading the lathe. There's other things we can do to make it even more efficient by adding auto doors and dual grippers, things that our customers want to keep that spindle running, keep that exchange of part down to the minimum amount of time. So in this particular case, we built this kind of a prototype, and we've been adding to it and fine-tuning it as we go.
Quite an increase in efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. So I understand you have put together an education center.
Yeah, the Education Center is a great addition to the Gamma-Shape facility in New Berlin. Metalcraft in Mayville has invested in us, and they see the need to continue to educate our own engineers as well as the people on the lines and the supervisors and engineers throughout the Mayville facilities. It's also a very good tool for our customers. So as we're designing and building things, we now can train our customers on how to best use and get the most out of that equipment. What we're seeing here in the video is our cafeteria, our lunchroom that they made really nice, and bathrooms. The flooring is a nice epoxy with Metalcraft colors, and they did a really good job for us and gave us a nice place to go and bring customers in and train them.
It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, you look at the ability we'll have with the robot lab or robot training center with computers and robots and other types of technology. It's a little bit of a blank slate right now as we're building it up, and we'll have it ready, I would say, sometime in 2021, where we'll be fully operational with that training facility. Next door to that is a VR lab, so we can bring in customers, put them in a headset, and they can, in virtual reality, kind of see the system that we just designed or we're designing and going to be building for them before we actually start building it.
For their system.
For their system.
Wow.
Before, as we're doing design reviews, we can walk up to it in virtual reality, do reach studies and ergonomic studies, maintenance accessibility, things like that. So it's a really neat tool for sales, but also for that engineering aspect as well. And then as the video's kind of going on here, we have these robot labs, glass walls. It's very beautiful. It's a nice facility. Right now, again, we've got a little bit of a blank slate there, given that it just finished up within the last few months. And one thing we do have, though, is this Robotrex system. And I like talking about Robotrex. It's a product line of ours that we really are passionate about. It was a system that was designed and developed over in Germany by Lang for their purposes of making Lang vices. So they're actually using a Lang vice system to make Lang vices. And
interesting.
It works very well. It's easy to use. It's very simple. I mean, I'm touching a couple buttons here in the video to get it up and running. I can train anybody on this system within 5 minutes on how to run it. There's so many benefits to the system. I would love people to come to our facility in New Berlin and see it live and in person for themselves and ask the questions and really learn more about it. I think it's going to be a very powerful tool for manufacturing companies, here in the United States.
Sounds exciting. Anything else?
Well, I do like Robotrex. So, Lang was very successful over in Germany, and they sold over 100 units and implemented over 100 units over there, and then they came to the United States. And how we became the Robotrex integrator is, we came highly recommended by other people in the industry here, and I took a trip over to Germany, which was really nice. I met the Lang family, and after a short period of time, we became that exclusive integrator in the United States for that system. And we did do a little bit of design changes. We used standard American or American standard materials and components, and we also put an Allen Bradley PLC in the system. We put some lighting on it, indicators for the operators and things like that. So we actually, I think, took a really good design and made it even better.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's take some questions from Mike.
Thank
Instructions for how to submit your questions are on the screen. Please submit them to scag.com/scag-live-event. And our first question is, how do I identify areas of opportunity for my facility for automation? What would the first steps be? What kind of evaluations?
Well, obviously, first step is call Mike Gamashea,
Of course,
Systems.
of course.
Right? I would love to be able to come into a facility and really do an evaluation for people. What we really look for are the A's, the ABCs, I call it. The A's being like an easy automation project, something that we've done before, something we're very good at, our core competencies of CNC machine tending, material handling, press tending. We actually have a line of presses that we design and build, and there's other things like welding and things that we know we are really good at. So those are going to be the A's that we know we can do a good job and there's a good payback. Sure. B is going to be something that is a little more challenging, right? Maybe there's some investigation. We got to do some testing, and we know it can be done, but it's maybe going to cost a little bit more in the ROI on that particular investment, maybe a little tighter than on that A, right?
Sure.
And then you get a C, which something that's going to be very difficult to automate, and maybe you're just better left with a person. So we got to kind of look for that right mix of labor and automation to make a good combination that's right for the company and right for that particular situation. I've been in hundreds of facilities. I've seen thousands of different manufacturing processes. So, companies that are going to work in the same four walls every day and in the same industry may not see some of those things that are out in other industries even, or just other companies, what other companies are doing.
Other possibilities.
Other possibilities, they don't know what they don't know, right? So, we bring in some fresh new ideas and we help them out as best we can.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Another question. What kind of talent or skills do you need to operate your automation systems? Do you need programmers, engineers, additional people?
Well, good question. There's different levels of automation. The systems can range from Robotrex, which is a completely engineered solution that's very simple, very easy to use. You do not have to be a programmer to run it. You never really even touch the robot program or the teach pen in itself. Matter of fact, that robot runs one program all the time. It's always picking up the vise. No matter what's in the vise, it runs one program, right? Okay. So there's other systems that are more complicated. We do a really good job of making it easy on the operators, and there's recovery routines and things that we can do to make it easy. Again, I think with a little training, any system can be operated easily without engineering support. If you really want to be the robot programmer, you want to be the PLC programmer, that's what we do. We're the engineers, put it all together, make it easy on the systems and the people running the equipment at the facilities. And then if they have issues, they can always call us. We'll come in and we'll help them out.
Sounds good.
Right.
Another question, how will the FDS system apply after COVID-19?
Yeah, COVID-19 really put a spotlight on fever detection.
Yes.
and the spread of viruses and other, but the flu is a virus, cold and flu season comes around every year. So, fevers are going to happen, and we want to keep those people with fevers out of our facilities, or maybe they'll even think twice of just leaving home and coming to work, right? If you stay home, you're sick, you're not going to come to work and spread it. If you do come and we catch you at the door with a high temperature, we're going to send you home and come back when you're feeling healthy.
Sounds like a good idea.
Right.
Will the Robotrex work with my older equipment?
Good question. So Robotrex is a add-on piece of equipment to any piece of machinery out there. Primarily 5-axis, 4-axis, a lot of 3-axis milling operations that can utilize a Robotrex system. Anywhere there's a vise in a machine somewhere, we're actually exchanging those vices in and out. And then we communicate with that machine. We get the system running and communicating with that CNC. If there's a power on button, we can make a Robotrex work with it.
All right. Here's an interesting one. How does Robotrex fit in with my high mix, low volume machine shop?
Okay, another good question. I love the Robotrex questions. Keep them coming. Again, Robotrex is a cart system in which has 30 to 42 vices per cart. People do think of automation being for those high quantity type applications, but somebody with a job shop maybe running 5, 10, 2 of this, 1 of those, they could put that 1 or 5 or 10 parts on a cart and run it while they're taking and putting another 5 or 10 or 20 parts on another cart. And so now the programmer is programming and setting up the next job while the robot's running the job in front of it, right? So now let's say, okay, I do have a 50-piece or 100-piece order.
Sure.
I save that for the end of the day. I load up my carts, I push the button, and I go home for the night, and I come in the next morning
It's
and
all done.
job's done. So I get a whole nother maybe shift out of my
That's great.
same people that I've got running first and second.
That is great. All right, that looks like it's it for questions for Mike. Coming up next at 4 p.m., the Metalcraft Industrial Carrier Division, Versatran. Please join us. Welcome back to Scag Live. I'm your host, Lee Crooks, and I'm joined by Joe and Dan from Metalcraft's Industrial Carrier Division, Versatran. Joe, tell us about Versatran and the products you make.
Sure. Metalcraft purchased a company called Venture Manufacturing in 2017, and along with that, they inherited the parts manufacturing business for Versatran. That continued for a couple of years, and they liked it so much they bought Versatran in November of 2019. Our retriever product line has been very successful. We have many customers that are very pleased with the product. Features that we've really emphasized are deck height. We have the lowest deck height in the industry, at as low as 41 inches, and also the extremely low loading angle, which adds a great deal to the efficiency of the product. The retriever is air operated, and there are numerous benefits to the air operating system. Most of all, it makes our no idle system possible by adding an 80-gallon air tank that's charged while the truck is being driven. The truck can be shut off when it's in operation, raise and lower the deck, load and unload, and the driver just gets back in the truck and goes again, and it recharges while he's driving. It also reduces fuel consumption, it extends the diesel engine life substantially, reduces emissions, and the components required for an air-operated system are much lighter than conventional hydraulic systems. So on our Model 15T, we wind up with about 2,000 pounds more legal payload than you would find on a comparable hydraulic product. And our 20T is as much as 4,000 pounds additional payload that you can haul legally. The 15T is designed for tandem rear axle trucks. Legal payloads typically run up to about 27,000 pounds, is limited by the federal bridge laws. CDL license is required. Our decks are 102 inches wide, and they're 24, 26, 28, and 30-foot deck length options, and there are also many other options available to customize a truck to suit specific needs. We've got a little video on it we'd like to show you right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at the video.
This is our Model 15T, 28-foot retriever. It's designed for tandem axle trucks, has a rated capacity of 30,000 pounds. This product has many features. One of the key features is the low deck height. This truck has about a 42-inch deck height, considerably less than you would find on any competitive products. This particular unit is equipped with, of course, we've got an all-steel, high-strength steel headboard. This aluminum chain rack and tray is lockable, so they can carry lots of extra chains and binders if they need them. We have a traverse-mounted winch that allows you to adjust the winch according to your load. If you have narrow equipment to load side by side, you can easily adjust the winch cable to not run into any other equipment. This also has chain binder storage rack on the front. This is a real convenience for the drivers. They really like it, keeps their binders handy, and it's quick to use, quick storage, saves them a lot of time. Also have underbody chain storage boxes. We just carry the chains immediately under the deck. Operator just pulls the chain out, hooks it, applies his binder, and he's good to go. When he's done, pull the chain out, drop it back in the box. It's out of the way, and it's ready for the next use. This truck has key slot tie-down points down every 17 inches down the side of the deck, and also down the center of the deck, which provides 140 tie-down points over the entire deck. Plenty of places to tie down so they can get a good angle on the chain and they get their load properly secured no matter what it is. We use all stainless steel toolboxes that will last as long as the truck. Unlike the painted boxes that are typically available on the market, they'll rust out in a few years. Our body is also completely E-coated, primer for rust protection, then it's powder coated, and the powder coat surface is baked on top of that. It gives a very durable, long-lasting, good-looking finish. The deck is coated with a two-part epoxy, a very high solids epoxy that's combined with aluminum oxide grit and they were told it's the same stuff they use on aircraft carrier decks. Very durable, provides excellent traction in wet conditions, much better than steel or wood you would find on other trucks. The mechanics of the deck are very simple. It's simply hinged here. It's actually hinged forward of the axle. The advantage of that is that it reduces the overall length of the truck while still providing a very low load angle. Also, you'll notice the rear deck has a curved shape to it. That allows us to load very low ground clearance equipment without having to raise the rear deck to clear the hinge line. It also aids in loading tracked equipment and can simply drive up over the curve without breaking over, as you might typically see, and come slamming down onto the deck. All the controls are in a lighted, lockable, sealed box so that they're protected, and you can also lock it up so no one can tamper with your truck when you're not using it. This truck also has flashing side beacons. You'll notice down here. And those are excellent when operating in traffic at night. They light up the back of the truck and protect your driver. At the rear of the truck, we have a Class 7 receiver hitch. It's a 2.5-inch size. There's also reducing bushing for it for smaller hitch slugs. It's rated for up to 18,000 pounds. We provide both electric and air trailer brake connections. And we also provide an RV-style trailer plug for the electric brake trailers and a round semi-trailer style plug for the air brake connections. There's the dock bumpers on the back of the deck, so when you do back up to a dock, you protect the dock and the truck both. Retriever is very simple in operation. All the controls are in a lighted, lockable, sealed box, so they're well protected. To operate the deck, just simply release the safety catch for the ramp. The ramp lowers entirely under air pressure. The deck is locked for travel right now. Release the deck locks. They're locked in place by the weight of the bed right now. We'll raise it up just a little bit to cause the deck locks to release and lower to the ground. You're ready to load. To return it to the travel position, apply the deck locks, raise it up. You'll hear the lock snap in as you get to travel height. Raise the ramp. The ramp can be stopped at the vertical position if you have a fully loaded deck. It's just done by moving the stop into position. Raise the ramp up to the stop, and you're good. Bring your ramp all the way forward. Let's move the stop to the front position. Ready to go. Go to loading dock position, release the deck locks, raise the deck to the height of the loading dock that you get to. So go up to 54 inches. Release the travel lock. Take the legs down, drop them in place, load this, and it's locked for the dock. It'll It's rated for 40,000 pounds. The hand crank you see there will allow you to raise it another foot if necessary, or to adjust very precisely to a dock if you need to do that. To return it to travel position, raise it up, raise the deck up to take the weight off the dock legs, release the extensions, lock the extensions back in place. Again, take the weight off the dock legs. Switch the safety lock to the travel position. Take the dock leg into place. Apply the deck locks. You're good to go.
Wow, that is impressive.
Well, thank you.
Very nice, very nice. Now that's the 15T, right?
That's correct.
Okay. You also have a 20T.
Yes, we do. Yep, maybe Dan.
Dan,
fill
can you
in
tell
on
us a little bit about the 20T?
Absolutely. And in terms of the 20T, it has some similarities to the 15T, with the lone exception being the chassis, as the 20T is configured and designated to have either a triaxle or a quad axle configuration. You also need a CDL to operate the 20T. Bed lengths are in 2-foot increments from 24 to 30 feet in length. The bed rating is at 40,000 pounds. The gross vehicle weight rating is at 70,000. And depending on federal bridge laws of a given state, your legal payload would range anywhere between 30,000 and 40,000 pounds.
Wow, that is good. So let's talk about the 6T. Who wants to?
I'd be happy to talk about 6T.
All right.
That's our newest product. It's been in development since early this year. Metalcraft and Versatran together have had a team of engineers working on it. The goal is to achieve a 12,000 pound payload on a non-CDL truck, which would be a 26,000 GVW chassis. Here you see our prototype. The initial unit will have a 20-foot bed length, and there'll be no CDL driver's license required. It'll also have a towing capacity of 10,000 pounds.
Excellent.
It's going to. We think it's going to be a real game changer. It has all the same features as our larger products, but won't require the CDL
at a smaller
license.
market. So.
Right. Yes.
Excellent. So what's the future of Versatran?
In terms of the future, I think with our dealer networks that we've established, we've got localized sales and service to help support the Retriever product. And secondly, we firmly believe the Retriever product is going to be the product of choice for customers for equipment transport needs in varying market segments.
Sure looks like it to me. All right, I think we're going to take some questions for Joe and Dan. Instructions for how to submit your questions will be coming up on the screen. There it is. And please submit your questions to scag.com/scag-live-event. And we will put your questions up on the screen. We already have a few questions. Jimmy Z in Indianapolis wants to know about the dealer network and service dealer availability. You mentioned the dealer network a little bit.
Yep. And so we have some dealers now in the western and eastern part of the U.S. They also have presence in Canada, so I think we're fairly well represented. They have service centers to offer product replacement items and things of that nature, so we feel we're very well supported with our dealer network.
Sounds good. We have another question. What happens to the truck systems if a leak develops in the Retriever air system? I can see where that could be concerning.
Very good question. The Retriever system, air systems are isolated from the truck systems by a pressure protection valve, so that if the pressure in the Retriever system drops below 80 psi, air is cut off to the Retriever system, and thereby it prioritizes the truck systems, particularly the brakes.
Good. Here's a question that would be appropriate for Wisconsin. Are there any concerns with the Retriever's air-operated system during cold weather conditions?
We have a number of customers that have purchased Retrievers over the years in the upper Midwest and in Canada. It's been a very good product versus a hydraulic operated system. You don't have to wait with our pneumatic system for cold weather warm up. But there's one key element, the air system. You need to ensure that the air dryer is working appropriately. We encourage folks after daily use to release the check valve on our 80-gallon air tank to relieve any potential moisture to ensure that there's no water in the system.
Okay. So how much weight can be lifted by the rear deck, and why is it curved?
Okay. Well, the rear deck is raised and lowered by 4 Firestone airbags, same type of airbags that are used in truck suspension systems. Okay. And they have a total lifting capacity of 40,000 pounds at 90 psi.
Okay.
The curve is there for 2 reasons. One is for loading low ground clearance equipment such as scissors lifts. They can drive up over that curve without bottoming out, so they're just driven on in one continuous motion. If you're loading track type equipment, one of the problems anybody experienced with that kind of equipment we'll talk about is breakover. When a track machine climbs a steep ramp and comes to the hinge line, it will flop over onto the next surface. That's kind of a dangerous point. Machines can kind of redirect themselves at that point if you're not careful. And it also is very tough on the equipment. It beats up the truck pretty badly. So we eliminate that.
Oh, sounds good. I think we covered this in the video, but what is the traction coating on the deck and how long does it last?
Sure.
In terms of the traction coating, we use a 2-part epoxy. We add in aluminum oxide grit to give some secure footing for folks when they are on the deck. It's a long-lasting finish. Typically, it's 2 to 3 years, so it's very durable, long-lasting. We do offer a refurbishment kit if folks want to redo that at some juncture down the road.
Okay. All right. Can the retriever load from a loading dock? Is another question.
Yep. I think that's covered in the video also, but yes, it can.
Okay.
And the loading dock system, or the loading dock legs rather, are capable of supporting 40,000 pounds securely at a dock. So
all right. Thank you very much. I think that's going to be it for questions right now for Joe and Dan. Thanks for watching. Coming up next, we have the Scag Power Equipment introduction at 5 p.m. We hope to see you then.
It's Scag Live from Metalcraft of Mayville in Mayville, Wisconsin, home of Scag Power Equipment. With Dennis Apolich, Matt Mugen, Patrick Roloff, and Jake Seagren. And with your Scag Live host, yours truly, Lee Crooks.
Hi, welcome back to Scag Live. I'm Lee Crooks, your host, and I'm here with the full panel of Scag experts. Dennis, you want to get us started off?
Absolutely, Lee.
All right.
And hey, it's finally 5 o'clock, right?
It's finally 5 o'clock.
I think a lot of people have been waiting for this time of the day, right?
Yes.
And not just to go home, but to sit here and spend quality time with the folks at Scag.
Absolutely.
So, just before we introduce the rest of the panel that's up here this evening, just some quick things about the product updates that we're going to be talking about. There's a number of models that we're going to be showing you, and some of the changes might be available at dealers today. Some of them might not. It's just kind of a running change, rolling changes we call it, that are coming down the pipeline this fall, early winter months. So that's just kind of an FYI to anybody that's watching. Don't think that you're going to go to your dealers tomorrow and be able to jump on one of the new products we're introducing right now. So just as a FYI for that. And the new products that you're going to see here today, some of the developments that we've had, improvements that we've done, those come from feedback. That's feedback from the people that are watching, our end users, our dealers, our distributors. So it's a collective information that we get from all of those folks, as well as what are we doing right now. We're on social media, we're on YouTube. So the feedback that we get from the people that are contacting us through those forums as well. So be prepared for that. And in case you didn't catch it, my name is Dennis Apolich. I'm the Director of Sales. I've been with Scag Power Equipment for 14 years. Started here as a regional sales manager covering the central United States.
Excellent. And I assume you cut your grass with a Scag?
Yeah, I think it would be frowned upon if I wasn't.
Yeah.
But yes, I do cut my grass with a Scag. I actually cut with a Tiger Cat, a 52-inch, so an original Tiger Cat.
Wow, nice.
So with that, we'll turn it over Matt Mugen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Mugen. I'm the Director of Scag Engineering and Research and Development here. I've been with the company for 15 years. I started off as a design engineer. One of the first projects I worked on was the Freedom Z. Moved on to some other projects like the V-Ride, the Tiger Cat 2. As a matter of fact, I cut my grass at home with the Tiger Cat 2 61-inch model with the 32 Briggs on it. Makes a quick time of a big yard.
And what else?
Well, and my previous mower that I used to cut with was the Tiger Cat original version, the Tiger Cat 1. And so I still do have that for a backup in case I want to get it done faster. I send my wife out in the front yard, I cut the backyard with the Tiger Cat 2.
And
Excellent.
And that's it. And Jake?
Fantastic. Thanks, Matt. I'm Jake Seagren, Marketing Manager here at Scag. Been with the company for 7 years now. Started as a marketing and service specialist. So focused a lot of my time doing anything online world, digital marketing, social media. I'm the guy behind the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. And I also spent a lot of time helping Pat in the warranty department, checking in parts, really using my opportunity and service to learn the product and give me a good foundation. And at home, I cut with a 52-inch Liberty Z.
Very nice. Very nice. Pat?
I am Pat Roloff, Director of Technical Service for Scag. Sunday will mark my 21st year with Scag, so pretty much started when Jake was still in diapers. So been here a while, started off as a Technical Service Manager and kind of worked up from there to the Director of Technical Service. Cut it home with a Patriot 52.
Excellent. So, Dennis, tell us what's been going on this year. It's been kind of an interesting year.
Interesting it's probably an understatement. So, as I mentioned earlier this afternoon, normally this week, the entire group here we're down in Louisville, Kentucky.
Sure.
We would normally go down on Monday. We don't come back until after the show is over, usually on Sunday. So it is a week down there. We get to spend a lot of good time, quality time with not just ourselves, because we are a team, we're our work family, but also with our customers, people that are buying our products, people are interested in buying our products, our dealers, our distributors. So we do get to spend a lot of quality time with them. So we do miss that this year. This is something a little bit new for us, a little bit different. We're not seeing them face to face, but it's one of those things that we have to overcome this year. We'll get past it and we'll see what happens next year.
Of course.
And we'll go from there. But it started off as a good year. We did a lot of new introductions last year, new product improvements last year. It's our kind of our showcase. And then as time went along, things happened. We had something unexpected. We had a virus, and we're not going to control that.
Sure.
But we kind of sat back and said, okay, what's going to happen with the rest of the year? And uncertain times, uncertain things were going on. But we had some shining light there. Earlier in the year, it was announced that we were the Equipment Dealer Association manufacturer of choice. So it's voted upon by dealers nationwide, and that was our 4th time being nominated as the Dealer Choice Award.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great.
So it's a great honor for us, and it's not just for us. This goes for our distributors and our dealers, because without them, we're not here. We're not doing what we're doing right now.
Sure.
That was, it actually, like I said, uncertain times, so it was a little bit of a bright spot for us right there. And then as the year went along, we didn't curb back. We didn't scale back in our research and development and the things that we are offering today and we're going to show today. We know that's the future.
Sure.
So as time went along, we saw some improvements when it came to retail activity. Yes, people were at home. So I think they were spending more time cutting their grass. They were spending more time with their families doing yard work.
I think that's true.
Absolutely. So things did pan out somewhat better. It could have been a lot worse, but they did pan out somewhat better. So it was a good thing. Another good thing that we had this year was the launch of our new website, Scag.com. Great website. Actually, that was Jake's baby.
Yeah, our marketing department spent a lot of time on that, with people being forced into their homes.
Sure.
The internet usage for not just Scag, but all around the internet just
skyrocketed.
Social media, internet, and we really struck gold with timing of that and getting that up and ready. And a new feature on there being the Build a Mower tool, allowing end users to basically pick what mower is right for them and send it straight off to their territory rep or their dealer, and they're basically saying this is what I want, and that's been very well received and been helping end users quite a bit find the right mower for their needs.
I'm going to have to check that out myself. So.
Amen.
Absolutely. So it's a great tool. It's a beautiful website, and the response from everybody, from anybody that's been on a site, whether it be a customer or all the way up to our distributors and dealers. Great response they have in that website. So again, another bright spot for 2020 for us. And as you guys saw from the automation, if you were watching the pre-show, Gamashay and FJR, the things that they were offering, they helped improve the things that we have going on in the facilities. So it was a great asset for us to have those guys partner up with Metalcraft, be part of Metalcraft, because it also helps us. Sure. It helps our manufacturing, it helps our assembly processes, so it was really good. Another nice thing in 2020 was our Beaver Dam facility. We purchased that facility about 3 years ago. At one time, it was an old Home Depot. So about 100,000 square feet. This year, just recently, we finished a 100,000 square foot addition. So it's 200,000 square feet. Since the day we bought that facility, we have now tripled the employees over there. So we have a nice employee base over there. That facility is actually got a state-of-the-art powder coating paint process over there. We put in assembly lines over there, and Beaver Dam will be in charge of the stand-up products. So Beaver Dam will be doing our V-Ride, our Windstorm, and the Turf Storm. So our stand-up sprayer as well as our debris products.
Okay.
So they'll be in Beaver Dam. Here in Mayville, we have 6 assembly lines, and the 6 assembly lines here will be doing all of the sit-down product. So Liberty, Freedom, Patriot, Tiger Cat, Cheetah, Turf Tiger will all be done here in Mayville. And then over in West Bend will be our walk-behind products. So the SW, SWZ, SWZT walk-behind products. So we kind of separated them out. It's better for manufacturing, it's better for assembly processes to be able to do things like that, but it also gave us that opportunity with our Beaver Dam facility. So it was a great addition to have that over there. And recently, actually really recent, we just started the assembly processes of the stand-up products that are over there, including the Windstorm.
Should we show a photo of the place?
Absolutely. We do have a photo to show everybody up there. That is actually a state-of-the-art assembly. That assembly line is actually in the floor. So our normal assembly lines, the conveyor systems are on a track that's above ground. The track is actually underground. So you can actually walk between them. Another nice feature of this assembly line was it's all DC tooling. So anybody that's familiar with DC tooling is it's a calibrated tooling that's tied to the monitor systems that are above that assembly line. So what will happen is, as a assembler is tightening up bolts or hardware, they actually have the instructions in front of them on a monitor, and as they're tightening parts down, it will not move until it gives the green light, saying that it's met its proper torque, allowing that to continue down the assembly line.
It's got the specification that's required.
Built in. So a lot of time was spent to be able to calibrate that. Large investment on Metalcraft's part to be able to have those installed at our facility in Beaver Dam. And it's something that we're looking at doing and rolling over as we perfect it there, rolling it over here to Mayville and then eventually over to West Bend. So some really, really nice features that we have going on in that facility.
Excellent.
And then also the last thing that we're introducing for 2020 will be a new extended warranty program that Pat can share with us.
Thanks, Dennis. Starting in 2021, we will have what we're calling the Scag Gold Extended Warranty Program. So that'll be available for new product at the time of purchase. Once you get the program out, you'll see some details on that, but there'll be different lengths of time that you can add to the product to extend the warranty out at X amount of time, some more hours and whatnot. One thing to keep in mind with that is repairs need to be done using Scag OEM replacement parts at a Scag authorized dealer. Sure. So that's something to keep in mind. And the last thing I'll say about that is if you're a dealer for us, you file a warranty as you do now currently using the Scag Tech warranty system. So very, very easy and smooth for our dealers.
That's great. Dennis, anything else you want to tell us? Or?
You know, that was probably a mouthful for me, or not. You know,
he's a sales guy. He likes to talk.
I get a hard time from these guys. I'm in sales. I talk.
Yes, of course.
No, it's been a good year, and we had some really good things going on here at Scag Power Equipment.
It sounds like it. So later in the show, we're going to have some live Q&A, and please stay with us. Coming up next, we're going to have Scag product updates. Please stay with us. And welcome to Scag Product Updates. Looks like we have a lot to talk about in this area, Dennis.
Oh, we do. We have every year we spend quite a bit of time on product updates and improvements. And again, just like I mentioned earlier, things that customers are asking for. So we do have a wealthy portion of it.
Excellent, excellent. Let's talk about debris product updates.
All right.
Okay. I think we were supposed to have a video for that, but why don't you tell us a little bit about it, and we can always show the video later.
Thanks, Lee. For debris products, wheel blowers and truck blowers, really not a whole lot of changes for that for 2021, so you won't see much as far as those are concerned. Windstorm-wise, we did make some changes earlier this year in spring. We did some modifications to the NDS nozzle system and did some modifications there to help with some issues that customers were reporting in regards to binding. So Implemented that in spring. Going forward, we're going to have some other updates that we're looking at right now that we're testing in the field. We'll see how those go. And if that proves out like we believe it will, we'll get those implemented in the near future. And I believe we do have a windstorm video here, so let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself for the windstorm. This windstorm will deliver extremely high multi-directional air output, driven by massive horsepower. We'll be traveling at highly productive ground speeds and will be accompanied by unmatched comfort, toughness, and performance. This is the Scag Windstorm. Designed with both the job and the operator in mind, the Windstorm stand-on blower will completely blow away any old ways of thinking about leaf and debris management. The Windstorm's exclusive nozzle direction system allows for easy adjustment of nozzle rotation and tilt, right at the operator's fingertips, giving you unprecedented horizontal and vertical control of the airflow to ensure thorough cleanup. Whether you're clearing a sidewalk or cart path, preparing asphalt for seal coating, or cleaning up leaves in the fall. And like all Scag products, the Windstorm is backed by a strong warranty. The Scag Windstorm. See your local Scag dealer today to learn more and experience the Scag difference for yourself.
And the last thing I'll say about the Windstorm is proving to be a very productive category for us, and a lot of growth hopefully coming with that. We actually do have a landscaper down in Texas that does a large HOA with a Windstorm that he replaced 4 to 5 guys with backpack blowers. So very, very, very productive unit. So just absolutely love it.
The amount of feedback we get similar to that online, speaking from the social side of things that I can speak to with dealing with that, countless stories of that. People using it year-round, not just in the fall time. I mean, one of my personal stories too is the video you saw there was at my parents' house. And prior to working at Scag, that project for my dad, my mother, and I was a let's get some tarps and some rakes and let's get it done over a few weekends. Not a fun thing to do. There's probably about 12 man hours to get that done. Never fun. Started at Scag before the Windstorm came out. We had the push blower, so I brought 2 of those homes and we cut it down to 4 to 5 hours. Then the Windstorm came out, and I've never felt my dad give me as hard of a hug before because we got that project done in about 30 minutes. And
30 minutes.
Talk about productivity right there. It's pretty impressive.
Pretty
That's
amazing
fantastic. So let's talk about walk-behinds.
Absolutely. All right, walk-behinds. For 2021, not a whole lot of changes, but we'll kind of go through them here little by little. Right now, currently for Scag, we have 3 walk-behinds that we offer, the SW belt drive walk-behind, and then the 2 hydro walk-behinds, the SWZ and SWZT. For those 3 models, there's going to be a new fuel tank on those, as you'll see going forward. Dennis will talk about that a little bit more here in a little bit when he gets on to the turf storm. With us today in the room, we have the new SWZT 48H-15 FSE, so it's an electric start Kawasaki. That will be replacing the 15-horse recoil start that we offered previously. So you'll see that coming down the road. And then with all the other electric start models that we have, there's a larger capacity battery on that as well, very similar to what you see on the SWZ, along with the other sit-down products and stand-on products. So a little bit better load capacity for that battery going forward. Minor change to the transaxle, which Jake will get into here shortly when he starts talking about the Liberty, Freedom, and Patriot. In addition to that, he will also talk about the rebranding of the cutter deck itself. So a lot of nice little features that we've kind of upgraded and improved, and some name changes. So outside of that, it's pretty much what you've been seeing. So with that, I'll pass that off to Jake to go over the Liberty, Freedom, and Patriot.
Sounds great. Thanks, Pat. So here today we have the Freedom Z and Patriot. We do not have a Liberty in the room today, but a change that we have coming to Liberty Z on the 60-inch cutter deck, that is going to be going to a 24 horsepower Kawasaki FR series engine for 2021. Again, as Dennis mentioned, probably won't be at your dealership quite yet, but stay tuned for that making its way in the coming months. Also on that machine, what used to be an optional accessory is the cutter deck transport lock, so you'd be able to kick that deck all the way up and it'll lock into place with that tool. That is now going to come standard feature for all Liberty Zs from the bottom of the lineup all the way up for 2021. And that kind of covers what we have changing on the Liberty Z. Shifting over here to the Freedom Z, we'll start with the engine on this machine. Here today we have a 52-inch. The 48 and 52-inch machine are going to be upgrading the horsepower on their Kohler 7000 series Pro filtration models. So same engine, same category of engine, the 7000 series, but the 48 is going to be going from a 22 horsepower to a 24 horsepower. The 52 that you see here today is going to go from a 24 to a 26 horsepower. So just a little bit more horsepower we're bringing to this package. This has been a real great engine for this particular setup. So that extra horsepower, we're really excited about that. Some things you're going to see on all of these models with the transaxle moving forward, as Pat mentioned, is the standalone hydro reservoir. That is now going to be an integrated system into the transaxle. So what you're going to do there, you're going to make it a little bit less complex in the hydro system. You're going to clear up a lot of plumbing, and by doing that, your opportunity for leak points is going to be greatly reduced. It's going to be a much cleaner unit underneath, so it's going to be much easier to do oil changes. You're going to have more accuracy and more consistent in that, eliminating potentials for overfilling the system. So nice upgrades that we're seeing there on all of these models to the HydroGear transaxle. So thank you to HydroGear for allowing us to do that. Then shifting over here to the Patriot model, we'll start right here with the control levers. These look very much the same as they used to, but these are actually now the same control levers that we previously had and still use on the Freedom Z. So why the change there? Recently, when we went to the suspension seat on the Patriot, the overall profile of the operator as they're on that seat was raised, and the old style arms that we had on there for some of the taller gentlemen like myself, not someone like Pat really wouldn't have to worry about that being a little shorter. Sorry, Pat.
Yeah, thanks.
You'd have some leg clearance issues when you're fully extended. We heard that from some taller operators. So by going to that style with the higher profile arm, those taller operators, we weren't hearing that as much, or we shouldn't hear that as much. So nice upgrade there. Another real big thing that's probably catching your eye here on both of these machines is the fuel tank on them. So what we did there is the tool on this tank, the tool that makes these tanks, was running into the end of its useful life. So we use that as an opportunity to give it a new look and kind of, in my eyes, take this redesign that we had last year by going to the blackout edition and really bring it full circle. So we took the tank that we have over on the Cheetah 2 and reworked that, shrunk it down a little bit, adjusted it as needed to fit this package on the Freedom and Patriot. Gives it a nice aggressive, sharp look. So you got the nice orange inset, your branding right here. A deeper cup holder on this tank, and then on the opposite side on the control panel you'll see an area for your cell phone or any other small storage that you might need. So nice upgrades coming to that fuel tank, and again it really just cleans up that picture, or cleans up the look of the machine, gives it a sharp, aggressive look. And one thing that I did leave out from earlier, and Pat touched on this, the SWZT, the Liberty Z, the Freedom Z, and the Patriot, those are all going to now have a branded cutter deck. As you can see right here, here's the logo on that cutter deck. So nothing has physically changed on this cutter deck. You know, when this cutter deck originally came out, it came out originally just on the Freedom Z. That was the only model that was using it at the time. And we never had a name for it. For whatever reason, just never got named. We often heard it referred to as the Freedom Deck because that was the first machine it was on. We hear it called the Bullnose Deck, the Commercial, the Standard Deck, the one that's not the Velocity Plus, many different things. So we gave it a little bit more credibility because it's a great performing deck. It's obviously being used in a lot more places than it used to be. And that will be the hero deck moving forward. So again, that kind of wraps up what we're looking at the Liberty Z, Freedom Z, and Patriot. And we'll shift it back over to Matt, I believe, with V-Ride updates.
I'd like to share with you today about some product updates and product improvements we've made on our V-Ride lineup. First, I'll be talking about 3 new engine offerings that we have for this year. The first is on our 52-inch model. We're going to be offering a Kawasaki FT730. That's a EFI engine. That's 26 horsepower. We've had that on our Tiger Cat now for the last couple of years, and it's been well received. It's been a strong performer, so we think it'll do well on the V-Ride as well. Also for the 52, which I have next to me here, is a 37-horse Briggs Vanguard EFI. Let me be the first to say we heard you loud and clear when you wanted more horsepower on the 52-inch decks. Last year we had it on the 61s, and wasn't too shortly after we heard about requests for it on the 52. Now we've had it on test for some time, and that was due to the fact that although we had it on the 61 model, the 52's got a couple challenges to it. It's a shorter drive belt for the cutter deck, and shorter belts don't like shock loads as much as a longer belt. And so what we did to really address that was to add a Gura soft start clutch module. That works with the clutch, so when you pull the PTO up to engage your blades, it really feathers the clutch on over like a period of a second or half a second, and that really extends your belt life by really limiting the shock load to the belt system. And so that software module was used on our Windstorm previous years, and it works so well in this 52-inch 37, we're going to add it to all of our 37 and up horsepower V-Rides for the coming models, which leads me to my next engine I want to tell you about, and that is on our 61-inch model. We're going to be going to a 38 Kawasaki FX1000 EFI engine. That's a new engine for Kawasaki. It features their electronic throttle control, and what that does, it keeps your engine RPM up as your load increases, and you're really gonna notice that in heavy wet grass. Your blade speed's not going to slow down, which it's going to leave you with a better quality of cut. You can be more productive during the day because of that. And so now I want to move and talk about some features on the machine. This year we've blacked out a few components for some aesthetic looks. So if we look at the caster fork down here, we've made that a black textured part or black crinkle part, similar to what we did on the Cheetah 2 and the Turf Tiger 2 last year. So we're getting the same treatment here on the V-Ride. Also, if you look at the deck lift link, last year this was Cat's Eye Gold. It's black texture as well this year. It kind of complements the machine. It complements the muffler guard here over the muffler. And so that's kind of a nice look to the machine. So we go to the back, the operator station. You notice here in the decal on the dash panel, we've got a dotted circle there with the words 12 volt below it, or 12V below it. That is an accessory plug that you can purchase at your Scag dealer. So we added a cutout to the panel, and to accept this new plug, and really all the operator has to do is go to a Scag dealer, purchase the plug, come back, and you trim the decal out to expose the hole underneath. You pop it in and you plug it in your harness, and now you've got a 12 volt outlet for charging cell phones and other devices that you might have with you. And speaking of cell phones, we've also added a mesh pocket here to the side of the pad. It works great because everybody's carrying cell phones with them. This really came about last year at GIE, the expo show. I was working the outside demo booth, and a young couple came up to me, and it was a husband and wife, and she was the primary operator of the V-Ride, and she went on about how she loved the V-Ride so much. She just couldn't stop raving about it, but she said, you know what, I wish I had a place to store my cell phone. And so it kind of got us thinking about it, and so we came back and worked with our pad supplier, and this is what we came up with. The whole, like I said, cell phones are really handy in there, water bottles, other things that you might need to put in there, some debris you pick off the garden or the lawn or whatever you have. So that's a nice add-on for another creature comfort. Next, I'd like to talk about some of the upgrades made to the hydraulic system on this machine. We use Parker wheel motors. They're the next size up from what we've had previously. The current models use a Parker, I believe it's a TJ series motor. So we went up to the next size up. It's the next family of motors up. It's a TG. It's the same displacement, but it's got a larger diameter to the body of the motor. it's got larger internals, and it's got most importantly, it's got a higher pressure rating. And what that allowed us to do was to use a higher pressure shock valve in our pumps. Our hydrogear pumps now have a higher pressure shock valve in them, and this allows the system to run at a higher pressure. Higher pressures allow really the engine to transmit more power to the wheels. And this is going to help you when you're climbing hills, especially when you're loaded up heavy with a grass catcher accessory, full of wet bags, wet grass in your bag. So I think it'll really help there on the hillsides. If we move around to the back of the machine, we're proud of our spacious operator platform. Previous models used the steel springs on either side to provide suspension for the operator, soak up the bumps. You can see here, you got a good travel there. These springs have been great for us over the years. But one thing we wanted to do was to add some adjustability to the system. So we replaced these two steel springs here with two of these style springs. This is an iso-elastomer spring. So it not only gives you the same travel that we've had, but it also does absorb some vibrations. These bigger engines, a little more vibration to them, so it'll help really reduce that and isolate that vibration so the operator doesn't feel it on his feet. And I talked about adjustment. So here we have 3 holes you can see in this plate. This elastomer spring mounts to one of these 3 holes depending on the operator's preference. If you use the front hole, it'll give you a softer ride. If you want a firmer ride, you just go back 1 hole or 2 holes, and the back hole will give you the firmest ride. So depending on the weight of the operator and really his preference on how stiff he wants that operator platform to feel, he's really got that control now. In addition to that, this plate can be removed from the system, and this spring can be bolted right to the chassis. And what that'll do, it'll lower the operator's platform about 1 inch, and so it gives you the operator to sit down about 1 inch lower in the machine. It changes the angle of his ankles and his feet, which allow him to his knees to hit the pad just a little differently. And like I said, it's really up to the end user and what he feels most comfortable when he's running the machine. So that about does it for the V-Ride updates. I'll pass it on to, I think it's Jake for the next segment, the Cheetahs and Turf Tigers.
Thanks, Matt. So now to go to the cat portion of the lineup, Tiger Cat, Cheetah, and Turf Tiger. Right up front, not a huge amount of changes that we're bringing out this year, but we'll go through a few of them, starting with the Tiger Cat that we have here today. Similar to what Matt described on the V-Ride with the blacked out components, and something that was done last year with the Turf Tiger and the Cheetah. We've done the same thing with the Tiger Cat too, by adding some blacked out components to the front caster yokes on either side. And then the deck lift linkages, those have been blacked out as well as those control brackets right at the base of the control arms. So again, same thing, we're trying to break up some of that cat's eye gold a little bit, catch your eye a little bit, give it a little bit of showroom appeal. We never really anticipate the cat portion of the lineup to go full-fledged blackout like you see on the Freedom, Patriot, and the Liberty Z. But adding some nice accents will definitely give it a nice look and appeal. One thing we do want to mention is that the 52-inch Tiger Cat with the 26 horsepower Kawasaki FT EFI engine, that was brought out last year as a promo model, and that will be sticking around as a promo model for 2021. So, we saw a lot of great traction in the field with that. It was a really great performing engine with a lot of torque. So that's going to remain as a promo model for 2021. And just kind of as a reminder too, and I believe Dennis might run this model at home, maybe Matt, but the Tiger Cat 2 last year, we also came out with the 32 horsepower Briggs Vanguard engine on there. And that's on the 61-inch deck. That's been an awesome machine for us, especially in the upper East Coast where there's a lot of bagging going on. If you are in the 61-inch range on your Tiger Cat, having that high capacity horsepower, really going to help with the bagging of the machine, as well as for those individuals that are running mulch kits full time. That extra torque and extra horsepower really add a lot of strength to that package.
That's right. I mentioned earlier that I run a Tiger Cat at home, and I have a mulch kit on mine, and that 32 horse makes really short work of my yard. It just has the power to get through the thick stuff.
And you mulch year round, don't you, Matt?
That's right. Yep.
Yep, awesome, awesome.
I bet your lawn looks great.
Oh, it does.
It does. We have
Not as good as
competitions
mine,
on
but
the
Not
that's
as good as
right.
Pat's and Jake's, but I'm
It's
trying.
mediocre at best, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not because of the cut, it's because of, well, it's Matt.
Yeah, yeah.
Operator error.
But then shifting actually up to the Cheetah 2. The Cheetah 2 is going to be featuring, similar to the V-Ride again, the Kawasaki FX 1000 series engine. New engine for Kawasaki this year. That is a 38 horsepower engine. It's going to be available on the 61-inch cut, the 72-inch cut, and at a later date, the rear discharge machine as well. That one's going to be a little bit of a wait yet, but going to be a nice, again, nice horsepower increase on that machine. Going to really pack the punch. We've had that out at Road America, one of our main test facilities the past year or so. I'm putting a lot of hours on it, and it's really living up to the hype. We're really excited to add that engine to the Cheetah as well as the V-Ride, which Matt covered earlier. And then finally, the Turf Tiger 2. We don't actually have one here today. No real changes coming in 2021. Always looking at minor things we can do on the machine. Last year we introduced the 31 Vanguard to that model on the 52 and 61. That's been performing really well for us out in the field. Good feedback on that. And you know, just kind of to wrap up, big picture on all the mowers that you've seen so far, or the truck loaders or blowers or things that aren't here today. Dennis kind of touched on this at the beginning. Feed us your feedback.
Absolutely.
Whether it's via social media, if you're an end user and you want to see XYZ feature on the Tiger Cat or this new engine on the V-Ride, like Matt kind of joked at and teased at, we've heard pretty hot and heavy about the 37 Vanguard on that 52-inch. Continue to feed that to your dealers. If your dealers that are watching this, feed that to your distributor reps. When your rep is in town, shoot them an email. Distributors feed that information to us. We meet with them once a year to get really in-depth, but we have a constant line of communication with them. And you know, in order for us to continue to push our lineup forward, we rely on the feedback from you guys. And whether it's a minor change and you're posting about it on our Facebook group, Scag Nation, or something that's big, we always have eyes on it. So we bring it up in our quarterly product development meetings, and that's something that's really neat to see happen. Like I said, minor changes, big changes, never falls on deaf ears and never goes unnoticed. So that kind of covers the updates on the product end for 2021.
So Dennis, anything else you want to add to all this? This is a lot of product updates.
That's pretty much the norm for us.
Good.
Just like Jake said, we listen to our customers. You know, you heard what Matt said about that 37 big block on a 52 and the electric start on the SWZT and the big horsepower on the Cheetahs and the promo models. These are things that we take from our customers. As a manufacturer, for the dealers that have been out in our plant, we could build whatever we want. You heard from Mike Gamachet earlier about the things that they offer and the things that they could do. As a manufacturer, we could do whatever we want. Does it mean that's what our customers want? We look at it as we want to build the products our dealers want, that our dealers want to sell, that our customers want to buy. Because ultimately, when a customer buys it from our dealers are going to come back and reorder it. So that's what we're focusing on, is making sure that we are offering the products that our dealers are looking for and our customers want to buy.
You guys are responsive to your
100%.
customers.
Always are.
We're
always listening.
a few good new products coming up after the break that a lot of people have been asking for as well.
Absolutely, it's been a while coming, especially on this first one and the Turf Storm. But yeah, I got a lot of excitement coming up right after the break.
Excellent. Sounds good. Well, we will close out Scag Live with the new products introduction. And coming up right up, your first look at the new Turf Storm. And you will also get to see our 30-inch commercial mower. Stay with us. And welcome to Scag New Products. It looks like we have some exciting new products to introduce today, Dennis.
We sure do. As a matter of fact, we're going to start off with the Turf Storm.
Excellent. Let's take a look.
Meet the stand-on spreader sprayer that's taking the industry by storm. The Scag Turf Storm. Built Scag tough, the Turf Storm is a must-have tool for the serious landscape chemical applicator and anyone looking to expand their lawn care offerings. A natural fit for large commercial properties, the Turf Storm also makes itself at home while treating residential lawns. With right-sized liquid and dry capacities, the Turf Storm will help you get more done per day for maximum productivity and profitability. 60 gallons of liquid capacity helps you keep working longer before having to refill, and the tanks are designed for quick and easy filling and draining. The fold-away spray boom allows for spraying widths of 2, 6, 8, or 10 feet, and an optional foam marker accessory is available. An auxiliary spray gun and 75-foot hose reel make spot spraying and accessing difficult areas a breeze. Spread dry materials up to 25 feet wide, thanks to a high-torque electric spreader mower. Accuracy and consistency of application are easy to maintain, with controls and gauges that are clearly marked and located within easy reach. You'll get your work done comfortably thanks to the Turf Storm's ergonomic drive controls, large cushion, and spacious operator platform with suspension. To ensure long service life despite exposure to corrosive chemicals, critical structural components and hardware are made of stainless steel. Visit your local Scag dealer today to discover how you can increase your profit-making potential with the Scag Turf Storm. Scag, simply the best.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Turf Storm. You guys got to see the nice video on that. Actually, last year at GIE Expo in Louisville, Kentucky, we introduced this machine. Not this particular machine, but we had a prototype there. Quite a few changes. We took a lot of feedback from that show, brought it back to our facilities here in Mayville, and started making changes. For example, at the one that was at the show last year, it had 40 gallons of capacity. This has actually got 60 gallons of capacity. So a lot of changes that went into play from that show. And it's something that we typically will do. We'll get that feedback, bring it back, and start working on those changes if it makes sense. This machine here is actually what we call a pilot build. We actually built a pilot run already. We actually shipped it out to our distribution network. And most of our territory managers around the nation have actually been showing them to dealers. Some dealers might have already seen it. Some end users might have already been able to run it. Talked to a couple of our guys early this morning, and they were actually out doing demos again today with one of the pilot units. The Turf Storm is actually slated for production next month. So sometime next month is when we're planning on a build. And again, just like I mentioned earlier, this will be built and is final assembled over in our Beaver Dam facility. So to talk about some features on it, Pat touched on this earlier. This is our new 5-gallon fuel tank. It is a top draw fuel tank, easy to read shut-off valve on it, easy to read gauge on here. Also incorporated a cup holder on there for operators who are out there, especially in summer months, be able to carry a drink with them. A large cap, tethered cap, so it's easy to fill the fuel tank. Parking brake is right here. It's easy to reach, so operators on a machine or off the machine be able to get to access the parking brake, so very convenient for the operator. A nice operator station, including a nice bolstered pad, so you can see the bolstering on it actually kind of captures the operator, so they're very comfortable in that. The pad is actually removable. You can take the pad off, and on the back of the pad, you'll see the labeling that we have on the back here. This gives your chemical applications. So that way an operator doesn't have to go back to the owner's manual or go online to look up what granular or what liquids, how much you're supposed to be putting down per 1,000 square feet. They can actually access it right on the back of the pad. So nice and convenient for the operator. Doesn't have to go to a truck, right on a machine. Also in the back of the machine, easy access to the drive system, so you can see the 10 cc pumps mounted right in the back, so it's nice and easy for the operator to get to, for a service shop to get to. On the very back of the machine, the platform is a suspension platform, so you can see it's got some bounce to it. Not overly bouncy. It's kind of like the V-Ride. You want to make sure that you have comfort without added bounce on there. So a very comfortable platform. On the very back, you're going to see it has tie-down loops on either side, a tie-down loop on either side, and that's for when we're on a trailer. And then we also have them in the front as well. We have a couple of holes that are mounted in the back already, and those are going to be for an optional fertilizer trays. So when somebody is doing granular, they're doing dry in a hopper, they can actually put extra bags of dry in the back, so they can carry, instead of having to go back to their truck and refill the hopper, they can stop where they're at, pull the bags out, and continue to fill the hopper up. So very convenient. Again, that'll be an accessory for this machine as well. When we talk about the hopper, we got a nice instrument panel here, and yes, when people look at this, they say, "Ooh, there's a lot going on there. It's kind of like an airplane. There's a lot of valves and gauges and things like that." Not so much. Once you get on the machine and actually start running it, start to use this, it's very simple. It's not a mower, it's not a lawnmower, but it does become simple after you get the hang of what you're doing here. For example, this right here, push this pull, this actually is a spreader pattern adjustment. So you can actually adjust a pattern. So you can open and close the pattern on your spreading when you're doing granular. Over here is the spreader switch to turn on the spreader. So pretty simple, pretty simple. Right underneath the controls, this is the speed control for the spreader. So you could, if, again, depending on the properties that you're doing, you don't want to spread outside certain areas, or the granulars that you're using, you could speed it up or slow it down. It's all at finger's reach. So super convenient, super easy to get to. We also have a hopper gate. So when you turn that spreader on, the spreader's spinning, but it's not dropping anything into the spinner. You actually have to open up the hopper gate to allow it to drop down. Okay, so you can open and close it on the fly. And then it also has a side deflector. The deflector is you're spraying or you're spreading along landscape, along flower beds, things like that. You can actually open and close the deflector plate so that way you're not spreading into those flower beds. So it's a nice convenient thing for operators to keep things out of their customers' flower beds. So some nice, really easy features when it comes to the spreading side of it. Now when we talk about the spraying side of it, again, same thing. Very easy to operate, just need to know where things are when an operator goes out there. Right in front, you're going to see 4 hoses, and basically those 4 hoses are left and right returns and left and right supplies. So you have 2 tanks. I mentioned it earlier. You got 2 tanks. So this is your left-hand supply, your left-hand return. If you want to operate out of the left tank only, I just turned it on. If you want to operate out of both tanks, you can turn both tanks on. So now you're operating out of both of them. So you can actually operate with 2 different chemicals in either tank. Or you could cross-feed the tanks by having these valves open. So if I want to operate just out of the left tank, I'm going to shut the right tanks off. So it's pretty simple to be able to do that. Now, to spray, you have these valves right here. So this opens and closes. We'll get to the boom in a minute, but this is your middle section, and these are your 2 outside booms. So you can actually spray with 1 or all 3 at any time. So you want to shut it off because, again, you're going into an area where you don't want to spray compound, you can shut that boom off. So it's pretty simple. To adjust the pressure, we have a nice gauge right here and a valve to be able to adjust the pressure to increase or decrease the pressure of the output on that boom. So liquid-filled gauge, so it gives an accurate reading of how much pressure is going to be coming out of that boom. Again, pretty simple. It looks like it's a lot going on here, and it probably is. It can be a little intimidating until somebody gets on this machine and actually looks at it. If you spend the time to do it, and we will be training our dealers on how to operate these as well. And the last thing is the gauge that's up here. This gauge, it sets your ground speed, so you can actually adjust your ground speed, so that way you tighten it down, and you can actually see how fast you're going. The turf storm will go up to 8 miles an hour. Now, you're not going to spread or you're not going to spray at 8 miles an hour. Typically, those guys are operating about 4 to 5 miles an hour. So they're not really going any faster than that. So you want to be able to adjust that ground speed, and you have to look at that gauge. The gauge is actually operated off of a magnetic pickup on the wheel. So you can actually see it. So however fast that wheel's going, it will read it out on this gauge. So not only is it just for mile an hour, but also that gauge will tell you how long you're operating on a property. So if you're doing a couple acre property or half acre property, whatever the property is, you can actually turn that on to tell you how long you're on that property. So customers are paying for time. And if you're on that property too long or you're underestimate it, you're going to know that. So not only does it give you the mile an hour, but it also is going to give you the time that you're on that property, as well as a regular hour meter, how long the machine has been running through the course of the jobs, the week, whatever time that you want to set on that. So it's a really nice feature to be able to have that on here. If we come around to this side, and again, I mentioned that it is 60 gallons of capacity when it comes to the liquid chemicals. Nice big port to be able to fill the tanks up. So a lot of companies actually have large tanks mounted in the back of their trucks. They're already pre-mixed. They can actually fill it in there, be able to fill it up fast, get it back out into the job site. So 60 gallons of capacity. It's actually got, you can actually, it's gallons are marked on the side of the tank, so you can actually see how much capacity is in either side of the tank. The bottom of the tank actually has a clean out. It's actually got a drain at the bottom of the tank, so that way you don't have to leave chemical in it. You can drain it out at the end of the day and clean that tank out. On the side, this is a standard hose reel with a spot sprayer. So this is for tight areas where you're not going to get the machine in. You can actually pull the hose out and be able to spray those tight areas, or still stand on the machine, and if you're doing something like along the side of a driveway or a sidewalk and you just got some weeds that you're going to pick up, you don't have to pull it out. You don't have to get off the machine. You can actually stay on the machine and grab the wand and be able to spray right on the side. The pump is actually it's a 5 gallon per minute pump that operates the fluid flow. We'll have a optional 7 gallon per minute pump available for this machine as well. So people are going to be putting additional tanks on them. Things that we're looking at would look at a 7 gallon per minute pump. Attached to the pump is a strainer. So it's mounted on the side here. I actually have a clear one here just to kind of show you what it looks like. But that strainer is to catch any debris so it doesn't get stuck in the nozzles in the front of the machine. So simple strainer, very easy to access. And that's something that should be cleaned on a regular basis by the operators. It's easy access, easy to clean. We get into the front of the machine, and our nozzles are actually T-jet nozzles. So easy access. They have a strainer inside to, again, catch debris. So that way it is not going to cause any issues with spraying. It actually has a diaphragm in the back. So that way, with this diaphragm, when they shut the pump off, what's going to happen is it'll shut the fluid flow off. So it's not going to continue to leak all over the place. It'll shut it off. The booms on either side will actually fold out. So you have 3 nozzles in the middle, and again, that red switch in the middle, and then you also have one on the outside. So either side you have an additional one. So it'll actually spray 2, 6, 8, 10 feet, 10-foot patterns is what it will spray. So it's a nice feature to be able to have that option of, again, using any or all the booms at the same time. In the door here that you're seeing right behind this boom is actually our battery. So we have it captured inside, so that way it's protected from any of the chemicals, the liquid chemicals or the dry chemical. In the front of the machine, this is a 220-pound hopper. And again, it'll have accessories of the trays on the back to carry 2 more bags of fertilizer. 220-pound poly hopper, so again, poly's not going to rot. It has a stainless screen tray inside this hopper. And again, when you're operating it from that station, everything that's hidden underneath, I have a sample right here. So when you're opening and closing that gate, this is the gate that you're opening and closing. So when you're adjusting the pattern, that's the pattern right here. So this is the pattern that's getting adjusted. to open and close this gate, to adjust it, is in the front right here. Most operators are going to set it for the granular that they're dropping, and they're not going to touch it again. So they're basically opening and closing the gate is what they're doing. So to adjust it, gate is closed, they turn it, and it's going to open that gate less or more depending on which way they're going to turn this knob. So they're going to open and close that. Okay? So super simple, super easy to get to. Again, underneath, when we're talking about the hopper, it's got a poly spinner on it. So a poly spinner, so that way it'll last a little bit longer. It's also replaceable, easy access. And the reason it's easy access is because our motor is an electric motor, and it's on the bottom. It's not inside the hopper. Some of the other units that are out in the field today have hydraulic motors that are inside the hopper that become a little bit more cumbersome to be able to change these wearable items like the impeller. That motor is actually a sealed motor, so it's protected from moisture, from the dry chemicals that are going to be in there, for anything that's getting sprayed out the front of it. And actually, behind that motor, we actually put an access door that gives access to service shops to the engine. Again, it's something that we thought about because you got to have access to the engine. These machines are tight, they're compact, not very easy to get to things. So we wanted to have a door to give access to service shops to get to the engine on that. On the outside here, I mentioned that deflector plate. This is the deflector right here. So I showed you the knob to open and close it. This is it. So open, you got full spread pattern, and you can close it so that way you're not spreading into a customer's flower beds, things like that. So again, another nice feature. If you look at the front end, the caster wheels, there's some out there that have actually locks on the caster wheels. We don't have locks. And the reason we don't have locks was the machine was dynamically balanced to make sure that it gives great stability. And with that great stability, it allows it to be able to do hillsides without nosediving down. If you nosedive down, you need wheel locks. Well, we don't need wheel locks because of the balance that we have on this machine. So it's a great, great feature to have that on here and not have to put those wheel locks on there. So come around over to this side here. This side we have, this is a accessory foamer kit. And the foamer kits are, if you're doing larger properties, you need to be able to see where you're spraying. Obviously, liquid chemical, you can't see it when it's on a lawn. So what do? You have a solution that gets put in here, you flip this foamer switch on, and little foam balls will fall out of this nozzle right here. So that way you can identify where you just finished your spray pattern. So when you get down to one end, turn around and come back, it's easy to identify where that came from or where you left off. So that way you get a nice pattern for your sprayer. What it's powered by is a Briggs Vanguard engine. So it's a 21 horse Briggs Vanguard. It's got the canister air filter on it. And one of the big features that we have on this engine is a 50 amp charging circuit. So it's got a 50 amp alternator on there. And the reason why is when you're running all of these switches and you're running that electric motor, you want to be able to make sure that you're going to have the power, not just the engine power to drive this machine, but also the electric power to power all of these other features that are on this. So it's another very nice feature that's on here. Again, be in production next month. Pilot units are in the field today. Customers are being able to operate them, check them out today. Dealers are being able to see those. Retail on this machine, without the accessories on it, is going to be $14,725. And again, look for it at your dealerships. One thing that I wanted to point out also is the stainless steel. Everybody's pointed out the stainless steel on this machine. Everything that we could make stainless steel is stainless steel on here. Last year when we were at GIE, even the tower was a painted steel tower. That is now stainless steel as well. So another big change that we had last year. So the complete chassis, the spray system, the tower, everything is all stainless steel on this machine. It basically keep the corrosion away, make the machine last longer. So I think you see that in the other products that we offer. We like our products to last a long time, so that way our customers are coming back to Scag and buying more. So that's about covers our turf storm. With that, we're going to turn it over to our latest machine, our latest one that we would, again, normally show at GIE, and that's going to be our 30-inch mower.
All right, thank you. So for those of you that have been following us on social throughout the last week or so, you've seen quite a bit of teasing. Briefly at GIE Expo this year was have this machine in front of the thousands of landscapers that attend that show. Let them see it, let them touch, feel it, operate it out in the demo area, similar to what they did with the turf storm last year, and get all that feedback. Fortunately, we're not able to do that this year, but just a quick reminder, once this event is all done, all these video clips will be posted online. Use that as your opportunity to provide feedback based on what you're seeing here today. And again, just because this is a prototype machine, what you are seeing here today, just like the turf storm, is very, very likely going to change come production time. But let's give you a look at the machine where it currently sits right now. So the machine is powered by a Kohler Command Pro CV224 engine. It's been performing really well for us out in the field in the testing. We have it at a few different test facilities, as well as some landscapers using it, getting a feel for it and doing the testing for us. So that's been proven to be a very good package for this machine. The major structural components of the machine, the cutter deck and the frame, all heavy-duty stamped steel. So rock solid, tough, no stamped aluminum, no lightweight steel, all fully fabricated heavy-duty steel on this machine. So it kind of really does live up to that name and the standard of Scag power equipment. We'll take a look underneath this cutter deck, which that didn't come off that easy for me in rehearsal, but I become a pro. So looking at underneath here, you can see the reinforcement plate under here that runs throughout the entire top of the deck. Very similar to what you'll find on our Hero deck and our Velocity Plus deck with that extra reinforcement at the spindle areas where it's needed. You're going to see a two-blade system on this machine. And with it not being a timed deck, it is an offset deck. That's going to make the event of whenever you have belt breaks, or just you need to update that or work on this system, it's going to be a much quicker belt change. You can do it in really a matter of minutes compared to a more complex setup that you might find on a time deck. You'll see the heavy-duty idler system on this machine that really mirrors what we have on our higher-end product. Really nice beefy spring, beefy idler arm, so real rock-solid unit right there. We'll shift around here to the height of cut on this machine. Right now, where we're currently at is 1.5 inches to 5 inches on this machine, and it is in 1/4 inch increments. So again, that's kind of what you're going to find on our zero-turn riders, V-Ride, our entire lineup. We set it down to the 1/4 inch increments. So a nice advantage with this machine is being able to get really, truly precise to where you want it to be rather than in 1/2 inch increments. And it is a vertical pin drop, so it's going to be really nice for adjusting it. That's the same setup that we're really running on a lot of our riders right now. Shifting to the handlebar area, what you'll see down here, a little hard to see with the knob in the way, but you're going to see 3 different holes that will allow you to raise and lower the handlebars on this machine. So shorter gentlemen like Pat Roloff, or females running this machine, are going to be able to lower this. Sorry, Pat, I'm really coming at you today. But you're going to be able to raise and lower this based on operator preference. So that really is going to help you increase the comfort of your machine for you. It's nice, heavy-duty, beefy, oversized handlebars, so it has a really nice grip and a nice feel. And you'll notice at all 4 corners that the cables on this machine, the throttle cable, the transmission engagement, those are all fed internally through these handlebars. So that's going to give it a nice clean appearance, as you can see right here. And it's also going to protect those cables in the event you're mowing around bushes, trees, whatever might come and snag on those cables. So it really helps clean it up nice visually, and it protects those cables as well. And shifting here to the operator station, we wanted to have absolutely everything we could for running this machine all in one single place. So what you're going to see here is you're going to see your throttle and your choke. Full forward is your choke engagement. You'll see your blade engagement, and you're also going to see your transmission drive engagement right here. And then also right there you're going to see a standard hour meter on this machine. One thing I do want to point out while I'm physically holding this like this, again, the prototype machine, just want to keep hitting that point through. These bales for the engagements are actually going to be more flush mounted on this handle, so you're not going to have that feel of a bale on here. That's just not currently on this model that we have here today. And then also while we're at that angle, you can see the angle of these handlebars kind of follow the more natural ergonomics of your hand when you reach out. So we got that inspiration by our SWZT walk behind that has the ergonomic handles. So we brought that same ergonomics to this machine right here. And also to start the machine, real nice feature for us, the recoil start again is mounted up here at the operator station. Very easy to pull and get it started. No needing to go to the side of the machine and crank it to get it started. So again, I can probably speak for myself. This is one of the biggest reasons I'm upset we can't be at GIE. I know we've had an incredible amount of feedback of people wanting to see a machine like this. I know you guys would have really liked to see it in person. Again, prototype machine. What you see here today is going to be a little bit different from when it's going to be in production. The number one question I know we might be getting submitted right now via live is MSRP. That we don't have for you, unfortunately, at this time because it is a prototype machine. Specs are subject to change at this time, but we can tell you with where the project is and where our targets are, this is going to be very, very competitively priced in the market. So we're really looking forward, again, like I said, once we post these video clips online, bring us your questions, bring us your feedback. Once this eventually reaches pilot stage next year, use that as an opportunity to give us your feedback. And that kind of covers the new Scag SFC finish cut 30-inch mower. The wait is finally almost over, the prototype you're seeing at least here today. And with that, we're going to wrap it up and we're going to transition into the live Q&A session. Thank you.
Dennis, those are exciting new products. That's fantastic. You guys really have some good stuff in development.
We do. Lee, it's nonstop. You know, Matt and his team in our research and develop department, pretty much those guys will put in the hours, the weekends. I know Matt's been here on weekends to be able to offer the things that we have these new products here as well as the product improvements are out there. And it goes on from there. I'd tell you those things, but...
No, it's a little early for that, but just these two are fantastic.
Yeah.
So these should do really well for you. So now we will take questions, and on your screen is where to submit your questions. Please submit your questions to scag.com/scag-live-event. And we will get to as many questions as we can. We've had an incredible number of great questions thus far, and we thank each and every one of you. We will try to answer as many of them as we can. Now, various people have already asked, as the program has been going, have you thought about making an XYZ product? You know, this product or that product. Can you let those watching know how Scag decides what they're going to make next, what they're going to create?
Sure, I could take that one, Lee.
Okay.
And the guys will probably help chime in on that one because it's a collective thing. It's not just one person.
Okay.
When it comes to new products, I think we mentioned it a number of times, and I know myself, I've said it, that the feedback that we get via social media, via our current customers that are buying our products today, our dealers, our distributors, things like this, GIE, we take that feedback and we take it seriously. Now, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to build everything that everybody wants because we'd have a million different pieces of equipment running around. Sure. So we try to satisfy with the things that we're doing the majorities. Not to say that we don't look down other avenues, but we do look at those things. Now, after we take that feedback and we hear things in numerous times, we get together as our new product development committee, and we look into those things. And I know for certain that even today, I know we've gotten some questions already on things like because of the turf storm, because of the windstorm, because of the V-Ride, all these stand-up products. I know for certain that we've gotten questions on a stand-up aerator. I know it's happened, and it's actually one of those things that we have talked about. It is on our radar. It is as a group that we've brought up a number of times, and we've done some analysis on it. So it's there. I mean, it's something that we're looking at. Another one that I know has come up, it's come up recently, and again, I heard the question came up, so we're going to go ahead and answer it right now. As Jake talked about the Patriot, we had a customer that brought up previously to today a 48-inch Patriot. On our last product development meeting, we talked about a 48-inch Patriot.
Yes, we did.
So again, people are asking these questions, and it's really funny that we answer these questions right now.
Sure.
And it's funny that we go to the shows that we go to and how many things that people ask for the previous year that we bring back to the show the following year. And it's, I mean, if we had a list that we would put up on a dry erase board, we could just check things off every year that customers are asking for that we provide them. Again, what did I say earlier? As a manufacturer, we could build whatever we want. We don't. We want to build what our customers are looking for, what they want to buy, and what our dealers want to sell.
Of course.
Right, we're constantly evaluating that list pretty much on a regular basis. Like Dennis said, you know, Matt, myself, Jake, Chris Frame, our president, and a couple other guys, we sit down every quarter, we go over the list of products that we get suggested to, and we review it as a group and figure out, okay, is this something that we should really consider? You know, the 32 V-Ride, for example, was something that came out of that. Dennis and Chris were at a distributor meeting, I believe, a year and a half ago, roughly, and it came up a number of times, and they both were like, well, where is this coming from? You know, so we love that feedback because that's how we go. I mean, we can't just sit in a room and come up with stuff on our own. We got to have other people tell us what we need to be doing. So
that says a lot about your company because if people are asking you to build these things, they trust what you're doing.
And we trust them giving us the right feedback to make sure we're focused in the right area.
That's great. We have another question. Tyler A. wants to know, when will the V-Ride 2 have an available stripe kit? Matt, do you want to tell us about that?
Sure, yeah, I can. We've heard that question before, and we actually had that in mind when we were redesigning the suspension platform on that V-Ride. Okay. We kind of had that in mind, knowing that a stripe kit, you know, was something we wanted to work on in the future. So we may or may not have one in the lab right now, an early prototype. It's getting late in the year to be testing it, but we're getting there, and it'll be available soon, I think.
All right, that sounds good. A few people have also asked, are the caster yokes on the Turf Storm going to be stainless under the paint? Matt, you want to take that one?
Sure. At this point, they're not going to be. They're going to stay out of carbon steel, and we use a stronger steel on our caster yokes. We have for years on all of our mowers, and also on our Turf Storm, it's a high-strength steel, a 50 minimum yield steel. And stainless just doesn't come that strong. I mean, stainless, we use, I think it's grade 304L.
304L.
And that's got a much lower yield strength. So to get the same thickness with the carbon steel, we'd have to go probably 3/4 inch thick or so, and it just really prevents a lot of other challenges.
That makes sense.
We're also going to be making a change on that for production on the yokes. We were looking at, Matt, tell me if I'm wrong, but aren't we looking at a 1/2 inch thick carbon steel yoke with a larger stem, the 1 inch stem?
That's correct. Right now, yeah, our riders have 3/8 thick steel, X1050. The spreader sprayer will have a 1/2 inch thick. And that's really due to the longer fork on it, because the larger diameter front wheel just puts more load through the shaft, through the yoke. And so we address that with a 1/2 inch thick.
So this is a kind of interesting one. We've had a few questions come in about if there will be machine shortages as a result of COVID-19. Everybody's mowing, everybody's taking care of their yard.
Yeah, I'll grab that one.
All right.
I got to deal with that one firsthand, so that one's all, I love that one. Actually, because This year, I mentioned earlier that the retail sales that we've had this year have been really good because people were home, they were buying our equipment.
Sure.
It didn't create so much a shortage as components created a shortage. Earlier in the year when COVID hit, there were plants closing down. Now, we were up and running, but we had supplier plants that were closing down, shutting down for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it was they were doing, cleaning, which we do. Sure. When they were doing those things and they were notifying us, we actually sent our own trucks to go pick up parts. So we were actually contacting them and saying, when are you closing? They said, well, we're going to close for 2 weeks. We're closing effective on Friday, at noon. And we said, we'll have a truck there. And we sent our trucks in to pick up components just to make sure that we are going to be able to supply the demand when it came to the product offerings that we have and what customers were looking for. Now, there's no guarantees going forward that we're going to have components and we're going to be able to build products, but that has probably been the one thing that we've ran into this year that was really a big struggle for our production team, for our purchasing team, for our guys in R&D, for Pat and service. Jake was having to handle those contacts. I was getting them from distributors and dealers. Not that there was a shortage, but there were some delays because of waiting on components.
Yeah, and we do have some multi-source suppliers for certain things, and we try to keep it that way, not obviously for COVID-19, but
Sure.
for obvious reasons to make sure we're not getting shut down by a supplier. We're constantly in communication with our suppliers throughout the chain to make sure that we are in supply of components regardless of any situation. We don't want to shut production down anytime. COVID-19 is a different deal, but just to keep production going, it's a good thing to have multi-source with a lot of things, tires, seats, that type of stuff.
Excellent. Well, it's a smart way to do business.
Right, that's right. I want to speak to that a little bit too. Every Friday we sit down for about an hour with the purchasing group, myself from engineering, a few others from the company, and we talk about some of our risks on the supplier side, and where is our biggest risk? What do we do to mitigate that risk? Is it having the alternates, and sometimes the alternate's not available, and so then you have to go to really just better communication with that supplier and work through it and help them help us.
Communication is key. You got to have good communication. Absolutely.
Next question. Scott T. from Evansville, Indiana says, will the 30-inch machine be available with any of the 30-plus horsepower engines as found on the Cheetahs and Tigers?
I'm sure you're jumping to do that, right?
Yeah, we always get asked for more horsepower, but I think that might be excessive, so I think it's a hard no. Dennis, you work out twice a day. I don't think you could push that mower around. I
don't think I could.
If it had a 30-horse engine on it.
That would be a challenge. I don't know about belt life on a 30-inch mower with a 38 FX1000 on it.
Good luck trying to pull it over.
I want to see somebody start that
try
one.
a recoil start.
I want to see that Scott T. from Evansville start that one.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh, we have another one from Indiana. Dave in Indiana has a question on the new extended warranty program. Will that be for gold dealers or will it be for all the dealers? And others also want to know about pricing and length of coverage. Pat, what can you tell us about that?
Sure. That will be for all dealers. It's not strictly for Pro Gold dealers that we have. It'll be for every dealer that we have throughout the nation. As far as pricing and stuff like that, you'll see more details on that going forward. So stay tuned for that. But again, all dealers that we have nationwide will have the ability to sell that.
All right. Here's a question we've gotten a lot. I'm going to change the oil in my hydraulic system. What kind of oil should I use? Does it need to be a synthetic? Pat, is that something you can handle?
I'll absolutely take that one. Always with the hydro systems on our product, we try to certify it to use a standard oil, not a synthetic based, and it goes across the product line. So when we develop a product, it doesn't matter what size it is, if it has a hydro drive system in it, we send it to Parker, we send it to Hydro Gear. They have to go through and do the certification testing on the machine. So we try to design it around a certain type of oil. Obviously, synthetic oils are pretty pricey, and with some of the intervals that you have to do for oil changes, it can be pretty costly. So we try to design it so it doesn't need it. You can certainly use it. The only thing that I would suggest if you do decide to change to a synthetic or want to use it, I would do it right away at your first oil change and then stick with it the rest of the way through. Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Here's a common question. I need a part for my machine. can I order it directly from Scag, or does Scag sell parts online?
I'll take that one again, I
Okay.
guess.
All right.
Not a problem. I'll answer anything you guys got. We do not sell parts online. We never have. We do have dealers that do sell parts online across the country, so just be aware of that, where you order them from, where they're actually coming from. Most of them will be Scag OEM parts, but you got to verify that with the source you're getting them from, but we do not sell anything direct.
Okay.
Everything is two-step, distributor to dealer
Go
to
the
customer.
dealer.
So.
Okay, fantastic. This person says, I bought my Turf Tiger in 2001. Nice longevity. I want to buy a new machine, but my spouse is giving me a hard time about it.
Look at the time, I think.
How can I convince them that I need a new mower? All right, who wants to take this one?
I'm out.
Buy now and ask for forgiveness later. How about that?
I would just go to our website, look at some of the fancy yards with the, turf tiger stripes all over them, and there's really nice looking quality cut you can get with these new mowers.
Increase in productivity on the newer mower. When we went from the 1 to 2, saw some productivity increase there. More time to do the honey to-do list there. Another good option, another
Suspension
good
seat.
reason. Suspension seat, more comfortable. She can actually ride, maybe.
Excellent.
More horsepower.
There you go.
More
More
horsepower.
horsepower, there you go.
All right.
And you know what also helps? Candy, dinner, glass of wine, massage,
There we go.
spa day. And then you go buy it while she's at the spa.
Amen.
All right, this one is, I like to run my machine at about 3/4 throttle when I'm cutting in order to save a little gas. But I've been told I shouldn't do that. What would you recommend?
I will take that one as well, I guess.
All right.
In that situation, we would not recommend running at 3/4 throttle. We always recommend full throttle. You're really not going to save fuel per se if you run at 3/4 throttle. You're actually probably going to consume more in some cases. So we always recommend full throttle when you're cutting, never below that.
I was thinking, when I'm mowing, if I always have mine full throttle, I can't even imagine running it lower, because I would think it would actually somehow cut worse.
There's a potential for that. I mean, it obviously affects everything down the chain. So you slow down your ground speed, you slow down blade tip speed. So we always design it to run full throttle.
I just want to get it done. So.
That's right.
That's why you need one of these, Lee. You got
I
to buy
do,
a Scag.
I do.
A nice Turf Tiger would be great for you.
Matt, can you talk about the HP engines on the 30-inch mower?
Well, I think we've already talked about that.
Did we talk about that? Well, we can move on.
Well, 30 horse plus. I mean, this engine here on this 30-inch mower is the Kohler 224.
Right.
I think that's,
I'm not sure what that's rated at.
somewhere under 10. Yeah, 7 or 8 or somewhere in there.
All right. I think you'll like this one, Jake. Lacey G in Dallas wants to know, why is Scag simply the best?
It's a great question. Really, you look at product, you look at dealer support, distributor support. We can make an awesome product, but
Yep.
if we don't have the support on the back end, on the dealer level, on the distributor level, we couldn't be simply the best. Speaking directly to what I do, the social media side of things,
Sure.
and kind of going big picture on what we've talked about with listening to feedback. There's many instances where I'll see something when I'm going through Scag Nation or just replying to comments or direct messages where someone brings something up, a suggestion, or they have an issue. I can easily go to Pat, I can easily go out to the engineer that designed that product and get them an answer right away. I mean, we pride ourselves on the response time, on being able to help customers when they have issues that they run into. And I always look at it that issues are unfortunate to run into. You're going to always run into them. We're going to strive to not run into many and keep that minimal. But when you have an issue, it's an opportunity for you to really shine with your customer service. And again, getting back to, you got to keep in mind with two-step distribution, if Lee has an issue with his Freedom Z, he can go to his dealer. If his dealer needs support, he's got a regional distributor. Sometimes regional distributor might be able to be there at the dealership to help him out. And if they need additional help, phone call away from the corporate office. So there's really 3 levels of support, and definitely the product to back it up is there as well. Quality of cut, top notch in the industry. So really, product and support is a big thing.
That's fantastic, and that separates you from some other companies.
I definitely think so.
I agree.
Yeah, excellent. We've had a few dealers ask this. Oh, wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong question. So Mark B asks, how many machines do I have to buy to get a fleet discount? That's a nice order.
That is a nice order. I'll take that one.
Yeah.
That is tied to the sales side of it, so it's actually pretty easy. In a majority of cases, it's two machines
Makes a
to
fleet.
qualify for fleet. So, for example, the Turf Storm coming to market, that will basically our fleet is 12 points. The Turf Storm is 6 points. The Cheetah is 6 points. The V-Ride is 6 points. The Turf Tiger is 6 points. The Tiger Cat is 5 points. So it's fairly easy for a customer to buy two machines and qualify for fleet. Another nice thing that we added this year, we changed this year, was a dollar purchase. So customer walks into a dealership and let's say he's buying that Tiger Cat and he's going to buy that Turf Storm. If his purchase price at fleet purchase price is $20,000 or more, he qualifies for fleet. Now fleet, they are qualified for a year at that fleet price. So if they got their fleet price on these units here and wanted to come back 3 months from now because he picked up business and he wants to buy a Windstorm, he could buy it at fleet price. He's not qualifying over and over again. Now if he comes back and buys that Windstorm, that's 6 points. He extends for another year from the date of that purchase. So you could potentially have up to 2 years at fleet pricing by buying once at your 12 points or $20,000, and then coming back and making a 6-point purchase. Again, a number of different models that qualify for the 6 points, or it might be a couple walk behinds, walk behind in something else.
Sure.
That qualifying for an extension of a year from the date of that purchase. So pretty easy to become a fleet customer with Scag.
I don't know if it's locked up yet, but we're talking about the SFC being part of that program at some point as well.
We will. So when we do go to market with the finish cut mower, we will incorporate that into the fleet program as well.
Awesome.
Great. All right, we've had a few dealers ask this. When will the Turf Storm training material be available on Scag U? That's your training.
I can take that.
Okay.
So Scag University, the training material for that is literally in review process right here. Big, huge shout out to our friends at Midwest Equipment. I know a lot of them are watching right now. They really helped us get that training material developed. But that is going through final reviews, so we'll have that to you hopefully within the next week or two so dealers can get trained up well ahead of production schedule.
That's
Absolutely.
great. That's great.
Something we want to have out there before we actually release the product. So
Yeah.
it's coming really, really soon.
So when it comes to that also, one more thing to touch on that, Lee, is the Turf Storm. Our dealers will, if they're selling a Turf Storm, they will be Scag University trained on that, as well as our territory manager. So that way the guys that are going out there right now, when Jake releases that, they're gonna be tuned up, let's call it, on the Turf Storm. So that way the things that we talked about today that was on the video and I spoke about, they're gonna be proficient in. So they're gonna be able to walk in or work with a dealer on demos and have that education.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. All right, Tony, we have just a couple more questions. Tony in Montgomery, Alabama has an older Scag and he wants to know more about Scag's current financing options. Sounds like he might be wanting to buy a new one.
You know what? I would love to sell him a new one. I mean, an older one. I mean, I don't know how old of a one it is, but we need to sell him a new one. It's actually our finance programs. We offer an array of different finance programs. So what we call the Scag programs are we work with companies like New Equipment Leasing, Western Financial. We work with TD Bank, which is Yard Card. And then Sheffield Financial. And they have different offerings. So Western and New Equipment do lease programs as well as retail programs. And then specific to retail sales would be Yard Card and Sheffield. And the programs that are offered are anything from 0 for 12 months on up to 0 for 60 months, as well as 199 for 60 months. So an array of different retail finance programs and lease programs. And of course, the programs are determined by customer credit. So well-financed people, good credit customers will qualify for 0% for 60 on Yard Card or 0% for 48 on Sheffield. We sponsor those programs, so we contribute to get those rates for our customers. but they're great companies to deal with. And again, our dealers might utilize like local banks, things like that, and they're welcome to do things like that. But the programs that we offer are with the companies that I mentioned.
All right. All right. Mark L. has a Turf Tiger, and he wants to know how far back he can sharpen his blades before he needs new blades.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
When it comes to sharpening blades, you never want to exceed taking off 1/3 of the total width of the blade.
Okay.
You start to dramatically affect the quality of cut, for one, so you're going to see a drastic drop in what you're seeing on your cut performance. But secondly, you're also starting to compromise the structural integrity of that blade. So anytime you get to the third, you're back there pretty far, so you want to scrap those at that point and get yourself some new blades.
Yeah, I would think you don't have enough body there.
Correct. There's not enough material mass there left. So it's got.
All right. Well, that was our last question. Thank you, gentlemen, and we really appreciate all the expertise that you have offered, and I thank everybody for tuning in. This has been fantastic. Thank you for tuning in to Scag Live today. We appreciate you watching everything that Scag has to offer, and we will see you next time.